was interesting. Lucy was positive. Sid says there's a lot of frustration. Just where's kind of what do you kind of digest after?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at it, I think it's all true. I think it's frustrating, but I think it's positive. When you look at where we were about 5 weeks ago, you know, it's a top 10 team on the road. We had foul trouble. We played overtime without Sid, without Kylie. The inconsistency of which the game was called both ways. It's not why we lost, but when you have inconsistent with that, it's hard to stop a really amazingly strong player like Cody McMahon, because you get a lot of fouls. You know, she gets to say in the game how it's called. You get one of your kids fouled out, so it's just the luck of the draw with that. So to be able to withstand all that and a slow start, but still be able to say woulda, coulda, shoulda, that's the positive. But the frustration is the woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Oh man, if we just would have done one defensive assignment correctly at the right time in the overtime, if it would have just run one of our sets a little bit more cleanly, right? It's always that one possession. So I think that's why it's, you know, Sid's probably feeling a little frustrated, and Lucy's looking at it positively, because I think it's all true.
Just 90 seconds to go in regulation, could have easily packed it in at that point, down 12. Just what did you see from your team in that moment, and you know, what did they show you in those last?
Yeah, well, I think that's what I love, is what I've kind of shared the whole year, is that they've always stayed the course, right? Even in the adversity we were facing, is, you know, they just kept staying the course and showing up. And so they were frustrated, and I got them to settle, because they were, you know, frustrated with, you know, if they weren't fouling, we're fouling. Like, look, we're fouling, right? Stay right here in this moment, get some stops. And then, you know, we had to have some heroics, right? Lucy had a couple, you know, tough shots that went in. But I think, you know, we were kind of due. We missed a lot of easy shots in the first quarter. So to mount a comeback like that, you got to have a few things go on your side. You just hope when it does and you get the break to go into overtime, you'll hold. But I think that's where it went back. We didn't have our experience in the game, and we had to play some youth. And I love them. They just made some youthful mistakes at the tough times.
I guess offensively up until the end there, what was maybe caused the you know, up and down play there up until the.
What do you mean up and down? You mean transition, or what do you mean?
Just kind of what led to the slow start? And
I don't know. We did some things differently than we did against Michigan State. I tried to get them up and do the things, but I think I got to keep, you know, doing that. I think probably that's just 8 out of 13 are new. You know, just aren't mature enough yet to really handle that maybe. You know, even when you're on the bench, that energy's got to be high. So I think that was a little bit. I think that we missed some shots. I think we missed a layup in that first opening minute. We missed a couple wide open threes, and then it makes you tight. I thought what was good, though, we did handle their press per se. We had some unforced, you know, turnovers down there. We just threw it to the other team when we didn't have a post look or whatever. But I think the up and down is just we both like to play fast. I mean, 22 for them, Cambridge. She likes to go really fast, and she's got rim. She sees it. She's real inconsistent. Today she was, to me, the freshman of the year in the big. One of them, certainly a contender. And we just didn't have that consistency in our offense. We were sloppy in the first half. We didn't set or wait for our screens, but we did lock that down a little bit better in the second half. So I was happy with the improvement.
You ever had to ask for score updates all the way through?
No, and that kind of frustrated me. But then they gave me an iPad, which is nice. It just is, you don't know that until you get into it. But you're just always kind of checking up there, you know, like, you know, how much the margin is. So thankfully it was Bailey. Someone got me a little iPad. But that was just kind of weird, but certainly not why we didn't play well. But I was glad when I got that iPad. It just was amazing how much I missed it. You know, I was like, where the heck?
It was frustrating for me too, and I was
hard.
far less attached than you. Just,
Yeah.
I mean, as you move forward, I mean, is the positive elements of this game kind of grow as you move forward, and maybe the frustration is right now because it just ended?
Yeah, I think it is because it ended. I mean, anytime, I mean, if you're a competitor, like, I get cranky if I lose in cards. I mean, I don't like losing, period. And I thought this was a game that we could have stolen. But I also then remember we lost this last year with Caitlin and company. They had some different players too. I mean, I don't know if they lose here much. So you got to be realistic a little bit. So the expectations are high. But I don't know if I've said this to you or to radio, but in my opinion, I'm biased. I did look at the rest of the remaining schedule. I think ours is the hardest. We were the only team that has 2 of the top 10 left down the stretch. I think Indiana's is challenging too. They got to go to Michigan State. They play Maryland. I think they host Ohio State. I think I would rather play Ohio State at home. But so that's, you got to take into consideration. We're a younger team. We faced some adversities. We've won now 6 out of 7, right? And we've lost this game in overtime on their court. So for us to be like, oh, what happened to the Hawks? I think that's ridiculous. I think we just did not take advantage of some things that could have been really special. But we fought so hard, which is just an example of how they've done to come through that adversity. And that's what I'm going to focus on after I break down the film, and you have to relive it, and you stay frustrated. And then tomorrow, we turn the page, we look at the things on film that we should have done better, and then we have 3 days to prepare for UCLA versus your typical 2, and we'll need 4. But I'll take the 3. So we just got to move on and know that these 2 games are, really a challenge. And then going to Michigan, man, they're really hot right now. So it's a tough challenge, but I think you got to keep them up. And I got to get Sid look at more of the positive than I do the frustration, because there's a lot of great basketball left for this team. And we showed it in spurts, some consistent minutes in that 3rd and 4th. In the overtime, we just let that last couple minutes get away.
Magnet for chaos. How do you kind of digest everything that happened, the good, the bad, and all of it?
Yeah, I think it's a great environment for women's basketball. It was a good game. I think we fought to the very end and took them to overtime, but I think our first half we struggled a bit. We let their press kind of dictate how we were running our offense, and we were a little bit sluggish. So I think just future, we got to get it going right away and don't let their press control what we do on offense, because our transition is definitely our best game.
Yeah, it seemed like once, in the 3rd quarter, you guys got some transition buckets that kind of opened everything up. How much was that the case, and then also how difficult was it to kind of get to that point? Up to that point?
I think just talking at halftime, we knew we needed to be aggressive. We had 2 quarters that were pretty slow, and to get back into the game, we needed to push the ball and get up and down in transition. So we talked about that during halftime, and just knowing that we got to play 20 more minutes of basketball together, there's only so many games left. We got to go out and give it our all every single game.
Just the last 90 seconds of regulation, how much of a positive can you take from that? How much does it feel like, you didn't win, so you don't want to do that? The last closing stretch there, what did that do for you guys?
I think we just had a lot of confidence. We were really just giving it to them in the second half and really pushing it at them every single chance we got. And, obviously Lucy having the ball in her hands in the last couple seconds is great. We want the ball in her hands, and she made a great play and hit her free throw. So I was really happy for her for that. But that was some great Iowa basketball. I thought we really stayed together in the second half.
Just what was kind of the mood in, you're down 12 with a minute and a half to go. Where's everyone's head at that point? I
think at least I take it and tell the girls that it's quarter by quarter. Every time, second half it's 0-0. It's a new basketball game. So that was really important. Flush the first half. That wasn't our best basketball, but we need to come out with fire and, don't let their press dictate what we're doing on offense, because our transition is so good. So I think just that, and, playing 20 more minutes together.
Just, big picture, obviously, a good team, good fight at the end. Where do you kind of put this in the big picture with the rest of everything that's happened recently?
I think it's a little bit frustrating, honestly. We have battled so close with every single team in the Big Ten, and all of our losses have been few points. And I think this one we definitely could have gotten and should have gotten. So it is frustrating, but I think no one should hang their head. It never comes down to one single play or anything like that. But we definitely have to get better every single day if we want to be the best. We can't just be right there every single time. We want to beat these teams and win. So I think we all got to look at ourselves in the mirror and know what we can do better to win.
How do you kind of digest everything that happened today?
Yeah, I think watching film will help. There's a lot we need to learn from. I'm fortunate. I'm proud of how we fought till the end. You never know what's going to happen, so I'm glad we kept fighting. But, yeah, we definitely made a few mistakes that we shouldn't have.
Just, what's kind of the mindset down 12 with 90 seconds left? I imagine the instruction is pretty simple at that point, but just what kind of allowed that belief to stay in there all the way through the end of regulation?
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota just did the same thing. They sent them to overtime. They were down 12 with like a minute 30 left. So I think seeing that it's possible, that helps a little bit. But yeah, we're not going to give up. So every possession, just one at a time, see what we can make happen.
I mean, you get to overtime, and obviously it took a lot of energy to get there. Just did it feel like kind of run out of gas in overtime, or what was mainly the thing that led them to pull away?
I don't know. I think we just didn't execute like how we should have. Same thing that got us down in the first half, second half. Yeah, I don't think it was lack of energy. I think we're in really good shape and we're going to do that. I think some people fouling out, that probably contributed to it a little bit. So we had different people in the game that haven't been there before, so that is definitely something. But yeah, I think I wouldn't say energy.
I mean, just how do you kind of put this in the big picture of everything? Obviously, a tough road game, tough opponent, good fight at the end. Just where do you guys kind of head back mentally with after this one?
They're a tough team, so even though we didn't win, we got to know that we can play with all these tough teams. And yeah, we got to learn from it, but we can't hang our heads. We've had a really good run. We lost one. We feel the losing again, and hopefully we can end the season with no more of those.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks.